Thank you. My name is Sujit Dike. I'm the CEO of Gyder Surgical. We have developed a pinless and imageless hip navigation system for accurately placing a cup into the hip socket during hip surgery. This is a big deal, as 80% of surgeons currently do not use any technology. In fact, they freehand and simply place a cup into the hip socket, often missing the targeted angles and leading to patient complications and costly revisions. As you will see later in the presentation, the Gyder hip system has addressed two of the biggest barriers to adoption of current technologies, namely the use of metallic pins that get inserted into the patient's pelvis and use of imaging like CT or X-ray, both of which add time, cost, and complexity to the procedure. The technology was invented in Australia. We are on the verge of commercialization with first in human cases expected in the May-June timeframe of this year in Australia. Cadaver studies to date have shown reproducible accuracy, clinical relevant accuracy across a wide range of target angles, and we are collecting additional data to be included in our 510(k) application, which we expect to be cleared by the FDA early next year, and then commercialization right after that. Strong IP position with validated and approved patents in most major countries, and the technology itself has indications or potential to be applied for additional indications beyond our first product, which is for the anterior approach, where the patient lies on the back and the surgeon comes from the front. Incorrect positioning can lead to a lot of issues, including what we see on the top image here, dislocation, when the prosthesis can completely come off the hip socket. And the bottom, you see liner wear. And there are a lot of other issues that over a period of time can lead to costly revisions. In fact, a significant percentage of hip revisions occur because of malpositioned cups, 40% of them costing $2 billion in total impact to the health system. Most navigation systems and robotic solutions actually use metallic plates, shown in the images here, that are inserted into the patient's pelvis, can lead to infection, can lead to intraoperative fracture, and obviously at time, no surgeon likes to deal with any of these complications and at time. Let me show you how the Gyder system works. Okay, the volume is off, but let me walk you through this.
Any interruption to the
Thank you.
surgeon's workflow. Before starting the operation, the surgeon or assistant sets the orthopedic brace to the patient's pelvis using the patient's ACES and pubis symphysis. The surgeon then inputs their desired inclination and anteversion angles into the Gyder navigation unit, attaches the navigation unit to the brace, and places the brace to the side until ready to use. The surgeon now prepares the patient to receive the implant using their normal workflow. When the surgeon is ready to implant the cup, they position the orthopedic brace onto the patient's pelvis over the ACES and pubis symphysis and apply gentle pressure until they feel the brace is located on the underlying pelvic structure. When comfortable that the brace is seated, the assistant presses the OK button on the navigation unit to capture the orientation of the patient's anterior pelvic plane. The surgeon now transitions the navigation unit from the brace to the impactor. Using the visual feedback on the navigation unit, the surgeon manipulates the impactor into their chosen orientation for the acetabular cup and then impacts the cup into place.
We are targeting a large market. The hip market itself is $1.4 billion, and with additional indications beyond hip, we can potentially unlock an additional $3.5 billion in market opportunity. And as you saw from the video, the product itself is very simple to use. It's portable. It provides real-time guidance, surgical guidance during impaction. Compared to robotics, as you heard probably from the panel this morning, robotics takes a lot of footprint, requires a dedicated OR specialist, and obviously is very expensive to health systems. Most other systems are also equally expensive, at time, and complex. Training is required, and they all use pins, by the way. In fact, our system is so easy to use that if you focus on the bottom rows in this table here, we have been able to train surgeons literally in an hour, and they are up and running. compared to systems like robotics where you have to go through 6-month certification often and extensive number of cases before the surgeon feels comfortable. And the impact on procedure time, this is super important. We are super fast. It barely takes a minute to 2 minutes, including calibration and registration, and for the entire procedure. Again, we are not adding any time compared to most of the systems. So that's a massive advantage. We're going in with a razor blade model where we have the option to place all the equipment at no cost in the hospital. It's all reusable, re-sterilizable, and then we plan to charge per procedure using a single-use disposable kit with very attractive margins, unit economics of 80%. Again, all of this combined together positions Gyder very well to capitalize in the ASC or outpatient surgery space, which is the biggest trend in the hip space today. We got phenomenal feedback at the largest orthopedic conference 2 weeks ago. All the surgeons liked the pinless, no hassle, no pin experience, as well as how fast it was. In fact, 89% of surgeons that we surveyed are interested in trying Gyder, and some of the reasons cited include the fact that it can work with any implant, as well as the seamless and easy integration into existing workflows. Again, a big difference compared to more complex systems that exist in the marketplace. We have a strong and very well-seasoned board across this management team. I want to highlight Bill Hill, who has decades of product development experience, and our board of directors are both located in US and Australia. Again, very rich and very well-seasoned board here. We have a strong partnership in place to commercialize the product. Hydrix has been a phenomenal partner during our entire development process, and they are also a strategic investor. They are, in fact, here in the conference. I would encourage to meet them if you are interested. And then all our manufacturing partnerships are already in place to commercialize the product starting this quarter. And then on the clinical side, we have a very strong roster of surgeons, both in US and Australia, and we continue to build upon that as we move forward. Continued interest in the space by most large strategic orthopedic players, a lot of activity over the years in terms of acquisition and M&A and partnerships, but none of these players today have pinless and imageless system, and certainly most of them do not have the attractive unit economics that I talked about earlier. We have been extremely efficient with our capital raise and what we have achieved. To date, we have raised $4.7 million, of which $4 million is private equity, private placement, and then $700,000 in Australian grants. With that, we have completed development of our interior approach product and on the verge of commercialization in 2 major markets, US and Australia, and also made a lot of progress on the posterior application. We are currently closing a seed extension round. It has been quite a busy quarter. In fact, we are already oversubscribed compared to the original target that we were planning to expedite our commercial preparation for Australia, as well as go through the rest of the 510(k) process. So if any of you are interested in participating in this round before we close, I would be very happy to talk to you after this presentation. And then in the future, we plan to raise another $7 million later this year to expand our indication and complete our posterior development and regulatory submissions, as well as commercialize in the US and enter Japan. So again, a very, very capital efficient approach in what we have achieved so far. And just to close it out, we have a highly differentiated, fast, cost-effective, and simple-to-use product that we believe can address the need of 80% of the market that is not being served by existing technology. Thank you for your time.